Hari Om. Namaste to all. Thanks for joining HD Zoom session today. Today is the second pravachanam of the series, which will happen on monthly basis by Chiranjeevi Lalit Kannavaram. Thanks to Chiranjeevi Lalit Kannavaram for accepting and agreeing for pravachanam for all HD devotees and Austin community once in a month. Thank you, Lalitji. Today's topic is Shatpadi Stotram of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. 6 verses written by Adi Shankaracharya imbued with poetic genius and philosophical thought. Lalitji, please go ahead, and thank you again from HT management for doing this. If you have any questions, this is Sandeep Uppala. You can raise your hand or ask in the chat, or Hemanji. We will be able to answer your questions. And there will be a short Q&A after the session. Please keep yourself muted during the session. Thank you, Lalitji. Can you please start?
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namasabhabhyas Sabhapatibhyascha Vo Namaha. Vedandasyam Giram Devim Sadguroh Pada Pankajam Jagadgurunshcha Shringadrishthitan Vandertha Siddhaye Galaddana Gandam Miladbhrangashandam Chalaccharushundam Jagatpranashaundam Kanaddantakandam Vipadbhangachandam Shivapremapindam Bhaje Vakratundam Mala Sudha Kumbha Vibodha Mudra Vidya Virajatkaravarijataam Aparakarunya Sudhamburashim Shri Sharadambam Pranatosmi Nityam Pramananakha Nirbhinna Mahamoha Mararaye Namaskurmon Nrisimhaya Svaprakashachidatmane Satyajnana Sukhaswarupamamalam Kshirabhyadhyasthitam Yogarudhamati Prasannavadanam Bhusha Sahasrojvalam Triakshanchakrapinakasabhayavaran Vibhranamarkachavim Chatri Bhuta Phanindra Mindudhavalam Lakshmin Nrisimham Bhaje Bharati Karunapatram Bharati Padabhushanam Bharati Padamarudham Bharati Tirthamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvajñam Vidhushekhara Bharatim Giram Devi Vani Vimala Guninau Me Chapitarau Guru Tamsaha Malla Pragadakula Bhusha Mani Buddha Kutumbakya Shastri Rasika Hridayaye Sahridayaha Nijashirbhih Kuryuhu Saphala Vachasam Mam Karunaya. Hello everyone, good evening. With namaskarams to Shankaracharya and Bhagavan. As Uncle said, we will be doing a short session, a pravachanam every month on a different topic. So last month's topic was Chandi Shataka of Bana Bhatta. So that was Devi in her form of Mahishasura Mardini. This is a much different type of stotra, to be completely honest. While that was more poetic and depicting a strong, fierce form of Devi, this Shatpadi stotra that we have chosen for this week is a composition of Adi Shankaracharya. It is very short. It is not a Shataka. So if we're looking for a big difference, here we go. Where that was 100 shlokas. This is only six small shlokas too at that. The poetic style is very different. Whereas Chandi Shataka used somewhat harder words to depict a more creative output, the word choice used here in terms of the sound is really the hinge where the stotra's beauty hinges on. That aside, of course, as is the case with any Adi Shankaracharya stotra, while doing Namaskaram to Devatas, he slips in Advaita as well. He slips in Advaita Vedantic concepts. So that too is present in the stotra. And this stotra also brings out a unique aspect of the Sanskrit language. So Sanskritam has this interesting property where some stotras, regardless of whether we know their meaning or not, as soon as they fall in our ear, it can be enjoyed. So, for example, a very famous example is the Shivatandava Stotra, right? So, Jatatavi Galajjala Pravaha Pavita Sthale Gale Valambya Lambitam Bhujangatunga Malikam Damad 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 Bhanannina Davad Damarvayam Shakara Chanda Tandavam Tanotuna Shiva Shivam. So, you know, we probably don't know the meaning of this, but the second that we hear it, we can enjoy it. There is something pleasurable in the sound of stotras. So this Shatpadi stotra is one stotra that can very well highlight that aspect of the Sanskrit language. This too, the language is very simple. There is no convoluted anvaya. So the making sense of what the words are saying is not hard. There are no words that you need to even really go look up in a dictionary if you are conversant with the language. Overall, these are 6 small shlokas that are written in very easy language that is pleasing to the ear. So if you look at this Shatpadi Stotra from just the Atana standpoint, from just the rough outline of it, those are the highlights. Adi Shankaracharya, of course, we have spoken about him several times before. Shankara on earth, Dakshinamurti on earth. His clarity, his expression, his poetic genius is second to none. So that all we will see in action, I guess, throughout the course of this stotra. So the first shlokam runs, Avinayamapanaya Vishnu Damaya Manaha Shamaya Vishaya Mrigatrashnam Bhutadayam Vistaraya Taraya Samsara Sagarataha. So you can see already that the laya, the way the shloka runs, is already very musical and poetic. So in this, Adi Shankaracharya starts off by asking Bhagavan for a series of qualities that will enable him for the last thing that he asks, which is Taraya Samsara Sagarataha. Help me, make me cross this ocean of samsara. So all the other qualities he asks for in the rest of the shloka are geared towards this happening. So he asks a few things. Avinayam apanaya. Vishnu is a sambodhana. He's saying, "Oh Vishnu, Bhagavan, avinayam apanaya, manaha damaya, vishaya mrigatrashnam shamaya, bhutadayam vistaraya." He asks for 4 things. First thing, avinayam apanaya. Remove my avinaya. What these all mean, we'll talk about in more detail. Avinayam apanaya. And then manaha damaya. Restrain the manas. Vishaya mrigatrashnam shamaya. And the mrigatrashna of vishayas. Bhutadayam vistaraya. Increase the compassion I feel towards my fellow beings. Samsara sagarataha taraya. Thus, help me cross this samsara sagara, samsara, the ocean of samsara. So the first thing he asks for is avinayam apanaya. Apanaya means remove. Remove what? Avinaya. So Vinaya is a word that we hear a lot in several different contexts, and it's taken up on several shades in regional languages as well. Naya, ni, the dhatu ni means to lead. So Naya means proper conduct, proper leading oneself. Vinayam, visheshena nayaha, vinayaha. So exceedingly good conduct or exceedingly proper conduct is Vinaya. Avinaya. So any lapses of good conduct, apanaya, remove that. Why is this necessary for samsara sagara tarana? Samsara sagara tarana is moksha. So the last thing that he asks for, make me cross the ocean of samsara, is basically asking for moksha. So for moksha, these first few things that he's asking Bhagavan for are all preparatory steps. So why do we need Naya? Naya can also kind of be read as dharma. So first, make sure that I am not in the adharma marga. So now we need to look at what does dharma mean. Shrutya prayojana muddishya vidhiyamanaha arthaha dharmaha is the lakshana given in Mimamsa. So that which is ordained for a good cause by Shruti, by Veda, is dharma. The dharma, of course, has many things. The the support of the world, the natural order of the world, all of these kind of mix and match, but at least in Mimamsa, this is what they give. So that which is ordained by the Vedas for a reason. So there are some karmas that are told, but it is said that there is a dosha in doing that karma. So those do not come under dharma. So that which is ordained by the Shruti and does not give any ill effects. For example, easiest example is Sandhya Vandana. Those who have had Upanayana need to do Sandhya Vandana. Now, Shruti has ordained it. Kale Sandhyam Upasita. So you must do Upasana, Sandhya Upasana at the proper time. So, and there is no dosha, there is no bad result attached with it. Therefore, this becomes dharma. Easier one, Satyam Vada, speak the truth. This is uh, told by the Shruti, and there is no ill effect. There is no adjoining dosha to this. So this becomes dharma, ahimsa. So Shruti has ordained it, and there is no dosha with it. In such a way, dharma is that which is ordained by the Veda and does not have any doshas. Another meaning of dharma is dharyate iti dharmaha. Dharanat dharma uchyate, because it supports that which becomes the adhara for this society, for this world, and most importantly for this individual is dharma. So we can read it as our duty. Like I said, dharma is a complex word. But why is Shankaracharya asking for dharma if his end goal is moksha? And the answer is very simple. Brahman, knowledge of Brahman is the only thing that grants moksha. Jnana devaitu kaivalyam. And without jnana, there is no moksha. And this jnana can only occur in a pure mind. So we see a lot of people in an attempt to be spiritual, they sit down and they try to do upasana of Brahma from day one. They close their eyes and they try to imagine anirguna, nirdharmaka, nirupa Brahman. So on day one, an untrained mind, an unrefined mind cannot just sit down and try to contemplate on something that has neither name nor form, no attributes. It is simply not possible. Actually, if we all do a simple exercise, sit down in a place one day, and for 2 minutes, don't even try to think of something, try to not think of something. So say for today, I will not think of a monkey, and try to sit there for 2 minutes, specifically trying not to think of a monkey. I can guarantee you that for at least 1.5 minutes, you will only think of a monkey. So control of the mind, focusing the mind is no small task. So what the mind needs is rigor. It needs certain acts that the action of which will purify and the fruit of which will purify. So for any act, they give us 2 phalas, a drishta phala and an adrashta phala. Adrashta phala is what is obviously seen, the obvious result of the thing. Adrashta phala is the punya phala, the samskara that it generates. So always there is this twofold thing. So this mantra japa, for example, if we take that, if you have gotten mantra upadesha, if you do mantra japa, the drishta phala is that you have a sound that is being repeated over and over again and you are able to focus on it. The adrashta phala is by repetition, you are also getting the anugraha of a particular devata. So all these dharmic activities that we do have twofold prayojana, twofold purpose. Therefore, it is very important that we do our dharma before we, if we want our jnana sadhana, if we want our philosophical pursuits to have a proper fruit. Next, damaya manaha. So as a result of practicing dharma, there is one more thing I want, Bhagavan, which is for you to give me a way to control my manas, damaya manaha. So dhamma, of course, you all must have heard Shama and Dhamma used in a lot in the context of Vedanta. Shama is antarindriya nigraha, Dhamma is bahyendriya nigraha. So Shama and Dhamma are a pair. So specifically, the nigraha being the control of our outward facilities. So making sure that the hand does not take anything that is not its, making sure that the foot does not travel to somewhere where it should not be, making sure the ear does not listen to something that it should not listen to. So this Shama and Dhamma, and then the other is not just making sure that the indriya does not go there, but making sure that the mind also does not go to places it is not supposed to go to, think of things it's not supposed to think of. So these two are put together. So damaya manaha. So dama is the antarindriya nigraha. Why dhamma of manas is necessary? Because the entire success or failure of this mission of getting Brahman lies within the manas. So, of course, the famous saying is, Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoh. The manas is the cause for the jiva either going into bondage or eventually attaining moksha. Now we might get a question, why is it that you are giving this agency to the manas? Because we literally just said that it is jnana and nothing else that grants moksha. So now how is the manas a factor again, all of a sudden? The manas is a factor, and for this they give a very nice example. So if you are looking at the moon and a tree branch gets in the way, the cause of you not being able to see the moon is the branch. Now, let's say the wind blows and the branch moves out of the way. The reason for you being able to see the moon is the branch moving out of the way. In the same way, a samskrita manas, a mind that has been refined, will be helpful for moksha. A mind that is unrefined, a mind that is untamed, is a pratibandhaka to moksha. It is a hindrance in our efforts to get moksha, which is why the manodhamma is very necessary. If nothing else, they say in Vedanta, regardless of whether we attain Brahman or not, regardless of whether we understand Brahman or not, at the very least, we will get control of our mind, which is in itself a very great goal to be achieved. So, damaya manaha. Next thing Acharya asks for is shamaya vishaya mrigatrishna. Please stop the cessations of the vishaya mrigatrishna. So, like I said, right, shama is the nigraho bahyavrittinam shamait yabhidhiyate. So, restraint of the outward facilities, of the outward karanas. So, a vishaya is that which is enjoyed by the indriyas, by the senses. So, Bhagavan, please make sure I have shama from that mrigatrishna. Mrigatrishna is a mirage. So what they say is, like a deer in the desert, it sees a mirage, thinks that there is water there, goes forward. That mirage always shifts, so it's out of reach. The deer walks forward again. And in doing so, it keeps walking, and after time, it expends all its energy in trying to get that water that does not exist and which it never can reach. So in the same way, our Shastras have described these vishayas, so these sensory experiences as mrigatrishnas. If we are looking for lasting happiness there, we will most certainly not find it. As to why, the answer is very simple. In any relationship, there are three things. So there is the experiencer, the experienced object, and the happiness born of the experience itself. The experiencer is not permanent, right? We all have a lifespan. The experienced object is not permanent. All objects must come into being and must merge back into unmanifest state. And the experience too, even if we have an enjoyer that is permanent and an object that is permanent, you have the law of diminishing returns, right? In economics. So you will get a smaller return every time. If you eat a laddu once, you will get X happiness. The second time you eat it, it'll be X minus 1. The third time you eat it, it'll be X minus 2. So the same object is not giving us happiness. And there is another very easy thing to show that happiness does not lie in objects. If happiness is vastunishta, if happiness lies in objects, then one object should cause happiness for all. But that is not the case. Some objects have a positive effect on some people and inspires sukha in some people and inspires dukkha in some people. So it is very obvious that it's the patra, the experiencer, that is the cause for either happiness or sorrow, and not the object itself. So it is very important that we recognize this and pull ourselves away from mere worldly sensory experiences, which is why Acharya asks, Shamaya Vishaya Mrigatrashnam. Then, Bhutadayam Vistaraya. Please, so all of these are very Vedantic oriented statements. This last one though kind of strikes us. So bhutadayam vistaraya. Please increase the compassion that I feel for my fellow beings. Compassion is very, it's throughout all our shastras, throughout all our literature, it is agreed upon that karunya, kripa, daya, mercy is the greatest of all virtues. Vedanta Deshika calls it tam guneshu sarvabhaumi. He says that daya is the queen of all qualities. And actually, I think in January too, in front of Bhagavan, we had the opportunity of talking about Daya Shataka itself. So Vedanta Deshika addresses an entire Shataka, not to Bhagavan, but to the mercy of Bhagavan. So just as in the Yoga Sutras, we have the yamas and niyamas, right? We have these 10 qualities that we're supposed to inculcate for yoga sadhana. There is another set of 8 atma gunas that we're supposed to have. And among those atma gunas, the most important is daya. So mercy is very important because it gives us an opportunity to broaden our mind, right? So he who thinks of the other as himself, right? The golden rule: do to others as you would do to yourself. This practice of feeling for others as you would feel for yourself, of regarding others as you would regard yourself, enables us to broaden our mind and decrease the attachment we have to the body. Because at the end of the day, the problem in Vedanta is very simple. We have attached the feeling of I to the wrong thing. Rather than attaching it to the principle of existence, consciousness, and bliss that is within every being, that is one, we have attached it to this body and to a name. So when I say I end up meaning this 140-pound body named Lalit. I don't mean the Chaitanya inside. So the simple problem in Vedanta is a problem of cognition. So by extending our purview, so by extending our view to all beings around us, that is what will help us to decrease that misapprehension that we are this body. Atmavat sarvabhuteshu samam pashyati Arjuna, right? So the goal is to be able to see Brahman in every single being. So we can start that process right now by increasing our daya towards other beings. So bhutadayam vistaraya. And by virtue of all of these, having given me a mind that is now conducive to thinking about Brahman, that is conducive of rationalizing or contemplating upon what Veda says, what the Guru says about Brahman, having given me such a mind, then please allow me to tareya samsara sagarataha, allow me to cross this ocean of samsara and finally attain moksha. This is the first verse, first shloka. Avinayamapanaya Vishnu damaya manaha shamaya vishaya mriga trishnam bhutadayam vistaraya taraya samsara sagarataha. Next. Divyadhuni makarande parimala paribhoga satchidanande Shripati padaravinde bhavabhayakhe vande vande. I do namaskaram to Uttama Purusha Ekavachana. Shripati padaravinde. This is Dvitiya Vibhakti Dvivachana. So the object case, dual. So those 2 feet I salute. Vande, I salute. Shripati padaravinde. Shripatis, Lakshmi's husbands, Padara Vinde, lotus feet. So I salute the lotuses that are Lakshmi's husband's feet, that are Vishnu's feet. This is the sentence. Shripati Padara Vinde, Vande. I do namaskaram to Vishnu's feet, which are lotuses. So the rest of the verse talks about how these feet are lotuses. So lotuses have makaranda within. They have honey or nectar within them, right? That's what bees go around pollinating. So divya dhuni makarande. So the lotuses of Bhagavan's feet will not have any normal nectar. Their nectar is divya dhuni makaranda. So this is what we call a bahuvrihi samasa. Divya dhuni eva makarandam yasya. So divya dhuni is the makaranda for that for which. Okay. So those feet, I salute those feet which have those lotuses which have Divyadhuni as their makaranda. So as we know, Ganga Devi. So Ganga Nadi was said to be born from Bhagavan's feet. So while normal lotuses have nectar, a chemical concoction as their nectar, Bhagavan's feet lotuses have Ganga Devi herself as the lotus. So by Ganga, we impose a pavitrata there. There is a holiness. There is a purifying factor in Bhagavan's feet. So Divya Dhuni Makarande, Parimala Paribhoga Satchidanande. Parimala means fragrance. Paribhoga means experience. Satchidananda. So the Parimala Paribhoga of which is Satchidananda. So again, Bahuvrihi. Before I should probably explain what Bahuvrihi is. So there are several types of samasas in Sanskrit. Samasas are compound words. So there are several types, but the one we're talking about right now is called Bahuvrihi, which is called Anyapadartha Pradhana. So we put together two words, but the end product does not refer to any one of these words. It refers to a different thing. So for example, if we have the word Chakrahasta, or Pitambara. Pitambara is a common example. So Pitam Ambaram Yasya. So Pita means yellow. Ambara means clothes. So he whose clothes are yellow is Vishnu. So Pitambaraha does not refer to Pita, does not refer to the color yellow, nor to an Ambara, nor to a cloth, or to a Vastra. Pitambara refers to one whose clothes are yellow, Vishnu. In the same way, Kala Kantha. So Kalaha Kantha Yasya. One whose throat is black. So Kala means dark, throat, Kantha means throat, but Kala Kantha means Shiva. So Kala Kantha does not refer to Kala, blackness, or Kantha, or to a throat. It refers to he who is dark-throated, Shiva. So in the same way, all of these words are Bahuvrihis. So the Divya Dhuni Makaranda, for example, is not referring to the Divya Dhuni Ganga. Divya Dhuni Makaranda does not mean Makaranda, it does not mean nectar, but it refers to an object, an entity, for which Divya Dhuni is Makaranda, for which Ganga is the nectar. I hope you all follow. It's a grammatical concept, an important one. I think it's a relatively straightforward one to understand too. But this whole verse is written in that construct. So Divya Dhuni Makarande. So I salute those feet which have Ganga itself as the Makaranda, as the nectar, and Parimala Paribhoga. So the experience of the fragrance. So Parimala Paribhoga. Parimala Yokka Paribhogamo. Parimala Yokka Anubhavamo. Parimalasya Anubhavaha. Paribhoga. So the experience of the fragrance of which is Satchidananda. Satchit Ananda. So they're saying that just as when we experience the fragrance of a lotus, there is when we smell the fragrance of a lotus, there is an experience that is generated. Smelling the fragrance of the lotuses of Vishnu's feet generates an experience that is Satchidananda. So it's not just a nice smell. We can use this as an air freshener. The experience is directly Satchidananda. So experience of Swarupa, experience of Brahman itself. So these two Visheshanas, these two adjectives are their Anvaya is back to the Shripati Padara Vinde. So I salute Lakshmi's husband's feet, which are lotuses. These lotuses have Divya Dhuni Makaranda, Ganga as their nectar, and Satchidananda itself as the experience of their fragrance. So Shripati Padara Vinde, and furthermore, they're qualifying them, Bhava Bhaya Kheda Chide. Bhava. So Bhava means samsara. So Bhavati means to be, samsara, that which has come into manifestation. So Bhava Bhaya, the fear of samsara, Kheda, the sorrow of samsara, Chide. So those which remove the sorrow and fear that is part and parcel of samsara. So how is fear part of samsara? Vedam is very explicit. Utainam udaramantarang kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. So when you make a division in something and experience dvaita, duality, there is to be an aspect of bhaya, of fear. Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati, of course, is also a very famous Veda Vakya. Only when there is a single entity is it possible for a state of complete fearlessness to be achieved. Anytime there is a second, there is always fear, or at least a very potential for fear. So the thing about samsara is it brings us into dvaita vritti. It brings us into duality. We tend to see a difference between ourselves and another. We tend to see differences between sukha and dukkha. We tend to see differences between um, ourselves and someone else, right? So I am para, nija para, sukha, dukkha, shita, ushna. So this whole world is broken up into dvaita vrittis. So the job is to let go of these vyavaharika dvaita vrittis and attain the advaita sukha of paramartha. So we need to let go of the dual aspects of the world and find the singular, unbroken, non-dual undercurrent that runs as existence, consciousness, and bliss. I think when we talked about Lakshmi and Nrsim, okay, that wasn't in this Vedika, that was in a different place. But we talked, what I said there was, there are 5 elements of this world. Asti bhati priyancheva nama rupan nama iti amsha panchakam. So it is consciousness, it gives ananda, and it has a name and a form. These 5 gunas, these 5 qualities, we see, we experience. The first 3, so Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, and bliss, belong to Brahma. Adyantrayam Brahma Rupam. Jagad Rupan Tataf Param. So the other 2, Nama and Rupa, name and form, are what belong to this world. So if we say there is no way that existence can be split, nor can consciousness be split, nor can the experience of Ananda be split. So all that remains to be split is Nama and Rupa, the Jagat. So our job is to cast aside the dualities of Nama Rupa of Jagat and understand the non-dual aspect of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So Bhava Bhaya, that is why Bhava generates Bhaya. That is why Samsara generates Bhaya. And due to that, there is also kheda involved, sorrow. Sukha and dukkha will rise and fall. This will be mentioned later on in the verse as well. Bhava bhaya kheda chide vande. So overall, vande, I do namaskaram to Shripati Padara Vinde, Vishnu's feet, which are Vishnu's lotus feet, which are Divyadhuni Makarande, the nectar of which is Akasha Ganga, Parimala Paribhoga Satchidanande, the experience of which is Satchidananda, that which removes the fear and sorrow of samsara. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the Shabda Alankara of this shloka. So if you notice the ending, every single word ends in de. So, Divya Dhuni Makarande, Parimala Paribhoga Satchidanande, Shripati Padara Vinde, Bhavabhaya Khedachide, Vande. So as you see, the last letter of everything is de. In some cases, there is even a bindu there. But in cases like chide, right, there is no bindu. But de is the ending of every single word. We call this antyanuprasa. So when the same letter, when the same consonant and vowel repeat again and again at the end of each word, that Shabda Alankara is called Antyanuprasa. So if you see, there is a different Alankara, Shabda Alankara, that Acharya puts into each verse. Alankaras are poetic ornamentations, which we have generally divided into 2, Shabdalankara and Arthalankara. Shabdalankara refers to the ornamentation of poetry via just sound. So due to your word choice, the letters of the words that you use can generate a certain beauty in the verse. Also, Arthalankara. So maybe what you say does not have special meaning, or special sound, but the meaning is what brings beauty. The coming shlokas will have both in them. They will, or in this one too, they will have both Shabda Alankara. They will have both beauty of to listen to and also beauty to understand. So make sure that you pay attention to these dual aspects. I know we just said we should get out of duality, but at least for the duration of this talk, let's pay attention to this dual aspect. So both the Shabda Alankaras and Artha Alankaras. Shri Patipadara Vinde, Divya Dhuni Makarande, Parimala Paribhoga Satchidanande, Shri Patipadara Vinde, Bhavabhaya Khedachide Vande, Satyapi Bheda Pagame Nathatavaham, Namamaki Nastvam, Samudro Hitarangaha, Kvachana Samudro Natarangaha. This is the most quoted verse of Shatpadi. Satyapi bhedapagame sati api नाथ तव अहम न मामकीनः त्वं सामुद्रः हि तरङ्गः क्वचन समुद्रः न तारङ्गः. So this is the word breakup of the shloka. So Natha, O Lord, Satyapi bheda apagame, even though the difference, the bheda has attained apagama, has been removed, Natha, tava aham, I am still yours. Na mamakinaha tvam, you do not belong to me. So though bheda has been removed and abheda has been achieved, you do not belong to me. I belong to you. How do you say that? Samudrohi tarangaha. The wave belongs to the ocean. Kvachana samudro na tarangaha. But the ocean does not belong to the wave. Though the wave merges back into the ocean does not belong to the wave. The wave belongs to the ocean. This last line is quoted very frequently because it's a very good example of Adi Shankaracharya's ability to put these complex philosophical concepts into simple language that we all can understand. So the reason why is we have this thing called Vyashti and Samashti. So Vyashti means the individual, Samashti means the sum total. When we look, for example, the common example they give in Shastra is Vriksha Vana. So when we look at a tree as an individual, that is Vyashti. When we look at a Vana, a forest as a whole, that is Samashti. So Vyashti means a single, Samashti means a sum total. So one tree becomes Vyashti, a whole forest becomes Samashti. Another example that they give that is more suited for what we're talking about here is a jalashaya, so a mass of water and like a cupful or a pot full of water. So when we look at a quantity of water, that becomes vyashti. When we look at the sum total of water, that becomes samashti. So the thing is, when we look at the jiva as vyashti, when we look at the chaitanya that is limited to this particular body and mind, that is vyashti. When we look at the samashti chaitanya, the chaitanya that is the sum total of the chaitanya of this entire world, that is what we call Ishvara. So usually when we pray to Bhagavan, we refer to this Ishvara concept. So the sum total of all the sthula sukshma karana shariras of the jivas. So the way when we say tat tvamasi, right, the famous Advaitic sentence that says you are that, this is what we are referring to. So the tat, that refers to the samashti, refers to Ishvara. It refers to Ishvara Chaitanya. So that Chaitanya or that entity, really, that is the cause for the Srishti, Sthiti and Laya of worlds, that which is Sarvajna, all-knowing, that which is Sarva Shakti, that which has all powers, all capabilities at its beck and call, Sarvajna, Sarva Shakti, Sarva Niyanta, that which is the controller of everything, then that which is also Sakala Jagat Srishtyadi Hetuhu, that which is the cause or the force behind Srishti, Sthiti and Laya, and that which is Nitya Mukta. So this is Ishvara. Then the Tvam in that refers to the Jiva. So the Kinchidnya, Alpa Shakti, Kinchidnya, he whose knowledge is limited. Alpa Shakti, he whose capabilities are limited. And he who is Paratantra, he who is not free. And he who is Baddha, he who is tied by Ajnana. So at the end, then we say Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. And that is where our minds stop understanding what people are saying. So in that case, when we say Tattvamasi, the Tat refers to Sarvajna, Sarva Shakti. So that great Padartha called Ishvara. When we say Tvam, the you in that refers to the Jiva, who is limited in knowledge, limited in capabilities, limited even in his physical capabilities too, not just the mental capabilities. So how then are we to understand how do we understand that these two are one? Right? How do we understand that these two entities are one? The answer is called, or the process is called shodhana. So you do this thing called Tvampada Shodhana and Tatpada Shodhana. You whittle down the Tvampada to a certain element, you whittle down the Tatpada to a certain element, and in the end, what remains is the same. So let's take the Ishvara, for example. Let's take Tat. So we have all this Sarvajna, Sarvashakti, all these epithets are there. But we take away all of that until we are left with nothing more than Chaitanya. So we remove all the functions of that Chaitanya, like creating this world, sustaining this world, destroying this world, dissolving this world. We take away the function of it knowing everything. We take away the function of it having everything else under its control. And when you pare away all of that, what remains is nothing but pure Chaitanya. In the same way, if we take the Jiva, if we take away his lack of power, if we take away his lack of knowledge or his limited knowledge, what remains in the end is Chaitanya. So this Chaitanya, this Jiva Chaitanya, and this Chaitanya, the Ishvara Chaitanya, is one. Thus, tat tvam asi. Therefore, you are that. That is the way that we explain abheda. So when he says satyapi bheda apagame, so he means once I have realized that this difference is gone, even though I have realized that I am one with Brahman. So there, we need to understand that when we say I am one with Brahman, I does not refer to Lalit in this 140-pound body, as I said earlier. I refers to the Chaitanya that enlivens this body. And Brahman refers to the Chaitanya that is the Adhishthana, the focus, the foundation of this entire world. Abheda to the Chaitanya of this and Chaitanya of that. So once I have realized this and I have removed that Bheda, even in that state, Bhagavan, na mamaki nastvam tavaivaham. Even in that state, I belong to you, but you do not belong to me. This is why Advaita does not is not at odds with bhakti. So a very common doubt that we get is, if Jiva and Brahman are one, then what is the reason for worship? What is the reason for aradhana? What is the reason for upasana? If the person that is doing upasana and the thing you are doing upasana of is one, then what is the need for all of this? How does Advaita reconcile bhakti? Is a very common question, and actually by its opponents, it is an akshepa too. They have attempted, unsuccessfully, I might add, to refute Advaita with this thing. The Khandana of Adi Shankara's Bhagavad Gita Bhashya also is that if everything is one, then how is there a teacher and a student and an element to be taught? Therefore, it doesn't apply, says Vedanta Deshika actually. But the thing is, these Bhedas are Vyavaharika, not Paramarthika. That is the aspect that Acharya is trying to bring home here. The Abheda between Jiva and Brahman is Paramarthika, not Vyavaharika. That is the reason for Upasana and Archana. It is also why our Acharyas, though they may be realized and though they have attained oneness with Brahman, the reason why they still have that much devotion towards God is because of that. This difference between Jiva and Brahma will exist as long as this body exists, as long as this mind exists, as long as these senses exist. But we need to keep in mind that there is still Abheda in the absolute sense. Because this, as I said before, this name and form, these Nama Rupas, all of these are aropita. They have been imposed upon us, right? So we need to understand that once this imposed world is removed, there is Abheda. While we are still interacting with this imposed world, there is most certainly Bheda. We cannot go to the temple and say, okay, now it is time for Bhagavan to do puja to me. Or why do I need to do puja when I go into the temple? Because I am Bhagavan. That is not the way it works. Advaitam Paramarthataha is Gaudapada's vritti. Vyavaharam is always Dvaita. The way we conduct business, the way we interact in this world will always be dual. But in the absolute sense, there is Advaita. It is non-dual. So the example, I hope you all follow, right? So Satyapi Bhedapagame, though Paramarthika Abheda has been realized, though non-duality in the absolute sense has been realized, Natha Tavaham Namamakinastam, in the Vyavaharika sense, in the transactional sense, in this world at least, I belong to you, but you do not belong to me. So the example that Bhagavad Pada gives is Samudro hi tarangaha kvachana samudro na tarangaha. The wave belongs to the ocean, but the ocean does not belong to the wave. Now note that there is still tadatnya between the wave and the ocean. The wave is not different from the ocean. The wave is the ocean, right? The wave has come from the ocean, it stays in the ocean, and it will go back to the ocean. So as long as we are calling it a wave, the wave is distinct from the ocean, and we say that, oh, that is an oceanic wave. We don't say it's a wavic ocean, right? So this wave is limited, right? So let's put this back to the Jiva Ishvara thing again. So this wave is limited both in scope and in terms of what it can achieve. The samudra, the ocean, is unlimited in terms of what it can do. But in the end, if we take away the parimana and the upadhi, right? So samudra is the ananta upadhi. Wave is a limited upadhi, parimita upadhi. If we remove the upadhi bheda, if we remove the limitations, then what remains is samudra is the ocean, taranga is also the ocean, and the two actually unite and become one. You cannot, once the taranga goes back to the ocean, you cannot even differentiate between the two. So thus, we need to understand that this bheda is kriyadvaitam, bhavadvaitam sadakaryam, kriyadvaitam na kinchana is the same. So in our heart, in our feelings, we should always have advaita. But in our interactions, when we do things, there is always dvaita. There must be dvaita. We cannot say, oh, the student and the guru are the same, therefore I do not need to do namaskaram to guru today. That is not the way it works. You can understand that the Chaitanya within you and the Chaitanya within the Guru in the absolute sense is one. But when you are going to learn, you must do namaskaram to the Guru because they are not the same, right? So this verse is meant to encapsulate the difference between Advaita in Paramartha and Dvaita in Vyavahara. So non-duality in the absolute sense and duality while we interact with the world. Tatyapi bhedapagame natha tavaham namamakeenastvam samudro hi tarangaha kvachana samudro na tarangaha. Next verse. Uddhrita naga nagabhidanuja danuja kula mitra mitra shashi drishte bhavati prabhavati nabhavati kim bhavati raskaraha. Let's just say the shlokam again, and this time let's pay attention to the way it sounds. Uddhrita naga nagabhidanuja danuja kula mitra mitra shashi drishte bhavati prabhavati nabhavati kim bhavati raskaraha. So the first half and the second half each have their own alankaras. So in the first half, as you see, the next word starts with the ending of the first word. This is called mukta padagrasta. So this shabda alankara is called mukta padagrasta. Mukta, that which has been released. Pada, word, grasta, the taking of. So you take up the word from where it has been released. So for example, the first word is uddhata naga. The ending of this word is naga. So the next word starts with naga. Naga bhedanuja. The last three letters here are danuja. So we start again with danuja kula mitra. The last two letters here are mitra. So we start the next word again with mitra shashi drishte. This ends with drishte. So the next word again, drishte bhavati. Starts with drishte. So this is called mukta padagrasta. Uddhrita naga. Uddhritaha nagaha yena. So he who has lifted up a mountain, whether we take it to be Kurmavatara, where he lifted up Mandara Parvata, or whether we take it to be Krishnavatara, where he has lifted up Govardhana, you can take either, but Vishnu has lifted up a mountain, right? So he is Giridhara, either in Kurmavatara or in Krishnavatara. So Uddhrita Naga. Nagabhid Anuja. Here, this is Nagabhit Anuja. Nagabhit is he who has split the mountains, Indra, because as per the Puranas, there is a story where the mountains all had wings, and them having wings and flying everywhere was causing chaos. So the Rishis ask Indra, and Indra with his Vajrayudha chops the wings off of the mountains. So due to that, Indra is referred to as the enemy of the mountains, or the he who clothed the mountains, he who cut the mountains. So Nagabhit is Indra. Nagabhit Anuja means Upa Indra, Upendra. So Indra's younger brother, right? Because in Vamanavatara, he was born to Aditi after Indra and all were already born, right? And Bali Chakravarti takes over Amaravati, and the Devatas are left homeless. So then Aditi prays to Vishnu. Vishnu is born to her. So because he was born after Indra was born to the same mother, because Aditi is the mother of the Devatas, Aditi is Indra's mother, and then Bhagavan was born to Aditi. He is Indra's younger brother in that sense. So he is Nagabhit Anuja. He is Indra's younger brother. So Nagabhit Anuja, you get Sarala Desha. So that the ta in Bhit becomes a da. So Nagabhidanuja. So now these last three letters, Danuja, are taken again. Danuja Kula Amitra. Danuja Kula Amitra. Amitra is enemy. So the enemy of the clan of Rakshasas. So he who is the foe of Rakshasas. Mitra Shashi Drishti. Mitra Shashi Drishti. So he for whom the Drishti, the sight is Mitra and Shashi. Mitra is the sun, Shashi is the moon. So we say very frequently, right? So Bhagavan is Soma Surya Agni Netra. So Shiva has a third eye, which we say is Agni. But generally the two eyes are Surya and Chandra, right? So Mitra Shashi Drishte. So far, these are all just Sambodhanas to Bhagavan. These are all just calling out to him via various names. So Udhrita Naga, Nagabhidanuja, Danuja Kula Mitra, Mitra Shashi Drishte. Now, next, now the second half of the shloka uses the three letters Bhavati in various meanings. Drishte, Bhavati, Prabhavati, Na Bhavati, Kim Bhavati, Raskaraha. Words are Drishte, Bhavati, Prabhavati, Kim Bhavati, Raskaraha. So this again is a bit of a grammatical jugglery here. So bhavati drishte. So bhavan means you. Bhavan means you. Drishta means that which has been seen. Bhavati drishte means in you being seen. So this is a expression of language called Sati Saptami. So it's not in you as in like within something, but in the when you are seen is what it means. So bhavati drishte, when you have been seen, what kind of a person are you? Prabhavati. So again, this is another case. Prabhavati, the bhu dhatu, pra with upasarga before that. So prabhu, prabhavati. Prabhavati means something that to be capable, to be samarthyam, to have samarthya. So prabhavat means one who is capable. Prabhavati. So when you who is capable has been seen. So bhavati prabhavati drishte. Again, Sati Saptami for all of these. So when you who is very capable, samarthyangaligina neevu chodabadinappudu, when you who is very capable has been seen, bhavat tiraskara. So this is not bhavati here. This is bhavat tiraskara. Tiraskara means casting off. Bhava means samsara. Bhava tiraskara means the casting off of samsara. Na bhavati kim, will it not be? So basically, when you are seen, will not samsara be cast off? Is a rhetorical question that Acharya is asking. So again, I will say the words again, and hopefully each one will strike you differently now. Drishte bhavati prabhavati. Kim bhavati bhavatiraskaraha. Drishte bhavati prabhavati. Na bhavati kim bhavatiraskaraha. Bhavatiraskaraha na bhavati kim bhavatiraskaramu undada. And Jeppe adugutunnaranamata. So he's asking, will not samsara be cast off? So bhavati prabhavati drishte. Bhavati in you. Prabhavati who is capable. Drishte being seen. Bhavatiraskaraha na bhavati kim. Here we need to drishte as not like seen with the eyes, but seen as in realized. So when Brahman is realized, will not samsara be cast off, is the meaning of the shloka. So in the first one, we have Mukta Padagrasta. In this last one, we have Yamaka. So when the same set of letters is being used over and over again with gaps in the middle. So Drishte, Bhavati, so three letters come, then Pra is in the middle, then Bhavati comes again, then Na comes in the middle, then Bhavati comes again, Nabhavati, Kim comes, then Bhavati comes again, then Raskaraha finishes the word. So when the same set of letters comes with Vyavadhana. Vyavadhana means with gaps in the middle. Then this is called Yamaka. This is called Yamaka Alankara. So Drishte Bhavati Prabhavati Nabhavati Kim Bhavati Raskaraha. And the first pada, where the next word starts with the last letters of the previous word, is called Mukta Padagrasta. Okay. उद्धृत नगभिदनुज दनुजकुला मित्र शशिदृष्टे दृष्टे भवति प्रभवति न भवति किं भवति रस्कारः. So this is the fourth shloka. Next. मत्स्यादिभिरवतारैरवतारवतावता सदा वसुधां परमेश्वर परिपाल्यो भवता भवतापभीतोऽहम्. So the alankara I just told you about is yamaka. So the same letters come, but there are gaps in the middle. So between the first bhavati and next bhavati, there is a pra in the middle. This verse, Uncle sent out the text in the newsletter, so I'm assuming that you all can either look at it right now or had a chance to look at it. So if you look in this one, this is called Chekanuprasa. So in Chekanuprasa, what happens is the same letters repeat but without a gap. So if you see avatara, vata, vata, so vata, vata come back to back. This is called Chekanuprasa. And also in the last one, bhavata, bhavata, pabhitoham. So bhavata and bhavata come back to back without a gap. The other examples that they give in Shastra for this are Sundara Darahasa, Kandarpa Darpa. So words like this where the letters occur again without a gap. Okay, so this verse contains Chekanuprasa. Matsyadibhihi avataraihi avataravata avata sada vasudham parameshwara paripalyah bhavata bhavatapabhitah aham. So, hey Parameshwara, bhavata, by you, aham paripalyah, I should be protected. Why should I be protected? Because I am bhavatapabhitah. I am scared due to the tapa, the heat, the burning that is being generated by samsara. So Parameshwara, I must be protected by you because I am scared of the burning sensation of samsara. So the whole first line, so there is a by you, right? Bhavata. So Parameshwara, by you who is in such a way is the first line. So Matsyadibhihi avataraihi avataravata vasudham avata. So Parameshwara, I need to be rescued by you, protected by you. Avataravata. Avatara means a form. So Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Rama, Krishna, Balarama, all of these. So avatara. Avataravat means he who has an avatara or he who has taken avatara. How Matsyadibhihi avataraihi avataravata. So one who has taken form via the Matsya, Kurma, etc., etc. Matsya Adi. Matsya Adi means Matsya, etc. So avataraihi Matsyadibhihi avataravata. Matsyama mudalaira avatara mulacheda digina niche paripalyaha rakshimpavadavalasina vadini. This is the way it works. So Matsyadibhihi avataraihi avataravata. So avataravata literally means he who has come down. How? Via the avatars of Matsya, etc. And then also Vasudham avata. Avati means to protect. Avat is the present participle of that. This is called Shatra Pratyaya. So if you take a verb and apply this Shatra suffix, it gives a noun that means someone that is doing that verb in the present tense. So avati means to protect. Avat means one who is protecting. Avata, by you who is protecting. Protecting what? Vasudham, this world, this earth. So Parameshwara, bhavata, by you, who Matsyadibhihi avataraihi avataravata, who has taken form via Matsya, Kurma, etc., all these forms, and Vasudham avata, by you who is protecting this world, aham paripalyaha, I must be protected. Bhavata, by you. Why? Because I am bhavata apabhita, because I am scared of samsara. Bhavata apabhitah aham. So Matsyadibhiravatareravataravata sada vasudham parameshwara paripalyo bhavata apabhitoham. So like I said before, this Shekanuprasa, the words will come back to back. So avataravata and avata. So in that the Savarna Virgha Sandhi, the a goes away. So we get avataravata vata. So that vata vata comes twice without a gap in the middle. And in the second half too, bhavata apabhitah. So bhavata, by you, bhavat, tritiya vibhakti, bhavata apabhitah. So in the course of that bhava tapa bhita, we get the letters bhavatapa, bhavata in order. And there is no gap between the two. So thus this verse shows us Chekanuprasa. Bhavata bhavata pabhito ham damodara gunamandira sundara vadana ravinda govinda bhavajaladhi mathana mandara paramandara mapanayatvam me. One more time just because it sounds really good. Damodara gunamandira sundara vadana ravinda govinda bhavajaladhi mathana mandara paramandara mapanayatvam me. Damodara Gunamandira Sundara Vadanaravinda Govinda Bhavajaladhi Mathana Mandara Paramam Daram Apanayatvam Me. When you read it quickly, it sounds like Paramandaram. And that's what Acharya wants to, because there is a different alankara being shown here. So Damodara, Dama Udara. He who has a Dama, a rope tied around his Udara. So this is a very specific Leela called Damodara Leela that we find in the Dashamaskandha of Bhagavata. It's a very important Leela too. So Yashoda ties up little baby Krishna, but every time she tries to tie him with a rope, the rope is always 2 inches short, or 2 angulas, 2 fingers short. So she brings a small rope, it falls 2 fingers short, 2 angulas short. She brings a bigger rope, that rope also falls 2 angulas short. She brings an even bigger rope. That rope also falls short by 2 inches. In the end, she gives up and says, Krishna, you will not be tied unless you want to tie. Just let me tie you. And then, once she surrenders to him, the first rope that she used was able to tie him. So, this Damodara Leela is meant to show us that Bhagavan will not be bound by anything less than complete Sharanagati, total surrender at his feet. So, this Damodara is reminding us of that. So, Damodara. Also, this Damodara is also the Adhisthana Devata of Kartika Masa. Another tidbit. Damodara Gunamandira, the repository of all auspicious qualities. You can also take it as the repository of the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, but here Gunamandira. He is Ananta Kalyana Gunabhirama, right? So all the auspicious qualities reside in him. And it is with his grace that we too should inculcate these auspicious qualities within ourselves. Gunamandira Sundara Vadanaravinda. And he has a very beautiful face. Why? Because only someone who is happy all the time will have a very nice face. If our insides are not good, no matter how much we try, we cannot have a pleasant face. That face will not be pleasing to look upon. Because Bhagavan is Sadananda, because he is pleasant, because he is happy at all times, his face is very pleasant, regardless of which form he has. Even if he has a boar face, he is pleasant. Even if he has a lion face that is roaring, it is said that he is present. Vedanta Deshika says, think of Bhagavan's face in Narasimhavatara. Satapatala bhishane sarabhasatta hasodbhate spharatkriti parispata bhrugutike vivaktre krite kripa kapatake sarin danuja dimha dattastana saroja sadrisha drisha viti bhishijyate vyajyate. So he says Bhagavan, Narasimha, Kripa Kapatake Sarin. He calls him a Maya Simha. Kripa Kapatake Sarin. Vaktre Krite. You have made your face in a certain way. How Sata Patala Bhishane, there is a mane coming out all throughout. Sata Patala Bhishane. And it's very fearsome. Tarabhasatta Hasod Bhate. There is a garjana. There is a roar coming out of that mouth. Spuratkadhe Parisputa Bhrugutikepi. Your eyebrows are arched and they're flicking up and down in a very menacing way. But even though your face is like this, your eyesight, nichupu, your glance is Danura Dimha Dattastana Saroja Sadrisha Drisha. Your glance upon the Danura Dimha, upon Prahlada, it's like Dattastana. It is actually not, it's not even scaring him, but it is feeding him life the way a mother's milk feeds life into the baby. Dattastana. So even though your face is this fearsome, your glance is Prahlada Poshana. It is sustaining, nurturing Prahlada. And it is Saroja Sadrisha. It is soft, like a lotus. So why? Because Bhagavan is Kripa Kapata Kesarin. Because Vedanta Deshika very beautifully says that you are a lion that is made of deceit. Why is it made of deceit? Because you are pretending to be angry, but you actually have kripa inside. You are actually very merciful in nature, You have that within you, but you are not showing it under this fearsome appendage, upon this fearsome form. So, because Bhagavan has that innate daya inside, regardless of what form he takes, it will be a very pleasant form to those who can recognize that. Hiranyakashipu was still terrified of Narasimha, but Prahlada was able to draw sustenance from it. So that Sundara Vadanaravinda has this much connotation behind it. His face is beautiful because he's always happy, because he has all these auspicious qualities, because he has all this daya for bhaktas within. Sundara Vadanaravinda Govinda. This Govinda Nama is very important. That's why in Tirupati we don't even call him Venkateshwara. We yell Govinda as we go there. Gam Vindati. There is a few derivations for the word Govinda. Even before Krishna, and the word Govinda originally applied to Varahamurti, because Gam Vindati, he who knows where the earth is, he who protects the earth is called Govinda. So when Hiranyaksha plunged the earth into that Pralaya Sagara, no one could even figure out where the earth was. But when Adivaraha came into being, uh, Adivaraha Swami knew exactly where the earth was. He went there and rescued it. So that is the first time where Bhagavan became Govinda. Then after that, there is a scene in Krishnavatara where Govinda Pattabhisheka happens. So Indra crowns Krishna Govinda. So when Krishna lifts Govardhana Parvata on his hand for 7 days and nights and quells Indra's pride, Indra comes with Kamadhenu and Airavata, and and he does Govinda Abhisheka. So because he protected all the cows in Vrindavana, he gives him Gam Vindati. He who protects the cow is Govinda and does Pattabhishekam to him, giving the Patta. Patta is a title called Govinda. So then Airavata does Abhishekam to him from its trunk with Akasha Ganga's water, and Kamadhenu sprinkles milk from her own udders onto Krishna. So this Govinda Pattabhisheka is a very important event in Krishna Avatara. Then the word go also has several meanings. Go means Vedas, go means light, go means knowledge, go means Indriyas. So the protector of all of these, he is Hrishikesha. He is the lord of the Indriyas, so he's Govinda. He is the lord of the Vedas, so he's Govinda, because Go also means Vedas. Go also means the earth. He's the protector of this earth, so he's Govinda. So in this way, Govinda is a very potent name that is pregnant with meaning. So Govinda, Bhava Jaladhi Mathana Mandara. So he is the Mandara Parvata to the Jaladhi of Samsara. So in the Puranas, Kshirasagara Mathana happened, right? So with the kavam of, I don't know what the English word for kavam is, but when you churn, right, you have that stick in the middle. When you churn milk into, when you churn buttermilk into, when you churn butter, you have one stick in the middle and you churn it, right? So that stick in the middle is called the danda. So Mandara Parvata became that, and the ocean was churned, and out of that came Amrita. So in the same way, if we want Amrita to come out of samsara, if samsara is the ocean, Bhagavan is the Mandara that can churn it and give us Amritatva in return. Bhavajaladhi Mathana Mandara. Me Paramam Daram Apanaya. Dara means fear. Dara traso bhitir bhisadhasam bhayam samarakosha. So dara, trasa, bhiti, bhi, sadhasa, bhaya. All of these words are words for fear. So please remove me dara. Me dara, me daram apanaya. Remove my fear. What kind of fear? Paramam daram. Remove this greatest fear that I have. Why? Because the fear of samsara far surpasses all other fears, like that of fear of bodily harm, fear of position, all of these fears, right? Bhartrahari lists out mane, dainya bhayam, khale bhaya, gune khala bhayam, kaye kritantad bhayam, rupe jarayah bhayam, vitte nrapater bhayam. So all of these bhayas, all of these things that have fear, that are imbued with fear, that Bhartrahari talks about, all of these pale in front of the fear of samsara. So that paramam daram, that absolute fear, that greatest fear of all, please remove that. Paramam daram apanayat tvam me. Narayana Narayana Karunamaya Sharanam Karabani Tavakau Charanau Iti Shatpade Madiye Vadana Saroje Sadavasatu. So these last 6 shlokas are the Shatpadi Stotra. This last one is telling us why it's called Shatpadi. So Narayana, O Narayana, Karunamaya, O one whose essence is Karuna, Sharanam Karavani Tavakau Charanau. Tavakau Charanau Sharanam Karavani. I am offering, I am making your feet my Sharana. I am committing Sharanagati to your feet. Sharanam Karavani Tavakau Charanau. Iti. Thus, so in the aforementioned way, Shatpadi Madiye Vadana Saroje Sada Vasatu. Madiye Vadana Saroje. In the lotus of my feet, Shatpadi Sada Vasatu. May this Shatpadi always reside. And the play on words here is Shatpadi not only refers to a stotra of Shat Padas, of 6 stanzas, but also Shat Padas with 6 feet. So the insect with 6 feet is a bee, a Brahmara. And this Brahmara always likes to be in a lotus. So this Shatpadi, may this always reside in the lotus of my face, of my mouth. Vadana Saroje Sadavasatu. Meaning, may this always be, na notlo eppudu undugaka. May I always be saying this. So thus, Bhagavan, Acharya finishes this Shatpadi. So as you can see, throughout this Shatpadi, there is Shabdalankaras. So we've seen Chekanuprasa, Muktapadagrasta, in Damodara Guna Mandira Sundara Vadana Ravinda Govinda. That Bindu Purvaka Dakara repeats again and again. So this is Vrityanuprasa. So when we got it earlier, so Shripati Padara Vinde, that then the same letter occurred at the ends of words. That is called Antyanuprasa. When the same letter occurs all throughout, does not have to be at the end, when it occurs even in the middle, etc., it's called Vrityanuprasa. So if you see here, Damodara Guna Mandira Sundara Vadana Ravinda, it's not occurring at the ends of words. It's occurring randomly in the middle. So when that happens, it is called Vrityanuprasa. When it happens only in the ends, the way it did in Divya Dhune Makarande, Parimala Paribhoga Satchidanande, Shripati Padara Vinde, Bhavabhaya Kheda Chide Vande. When it only happens in the end, it is called Antyanuprasa. So Bhagavad Pada has shown us Antyanuprasa, Vrityanuprasa, Cheka, Yamaka, Muktapadagrasta. So all these 6 Shabdalankaras, with the exception of Latanuprasa. Latanuprasa is an Alankara where a word is repeated the second time, but the second time it denotes something greater than the first. I will give you a Telugu example, and then I'll also give a Sanskrit example. A very famous Padyam poem we have is Kamalakshanarchinchu Karamulu Karamulu. So the word Karamulu comes twice, but they don't mean the same thing. Karamule Karamulu, Karamule Sarthakameina Karamulu, Karamule Asalena Karamulu. That second Karamulu, ee rendo Karamulu ane daniki, Asalena Karamulu, Shreshthamaina Karamulu, Prashastamaina Karamulu అని చెప్పి అర్థం ఉంది. ఆ కరములు అన్నప్పుడు మొదటి కరములుకి అర్థం లేదు. కాబట్టి ఆ రెండోసారి అర్థభేదంతో అర్థ గాంభీర్యంతో వచ్చింది కాబట్టి దీన్ని లాటానుప్రాస అంటారు. So to put this in English, we can say yat bhagavantam pashyati tan nayanam nayanam. So that eye which sees Bhagavan, that eye is an eye. So we say tan nayanam nayanam. This actually comes in Shivananda Lahari too. So tanayana te sanayana te nayane taveva karo, tarasana te nayane taveva karo, sa eva krita kritya. So same alankara, same latanuprasa being used there. So those eyes are eyes. So we say eyes twice, tan nayanam nayanam. Those eyes alone are eyes. In the second word nayana, we are saying that they are the greatest of eyes, or those only are eyes, or those are very great eyes. The first nayana does not convey that. So when the same word comes again, where the second time its scope is widened, is greatened, this is called latanuprasa. So with the exception of this latanuprasa, we generally have 6 shabdalankaras. So 5 of those have been shown in this stotra. And not only these shabdalankaras have been shown, but as you have seen, Bhagavad Pada has also put in a lot of Vedanta in. So first, the necessary requisites for the training, the way we need to train the mind. So getting Shama and Dhamma, getting Daya, doing our Dharma, as doing Karma as prescribed by the Vedas. So all of these prerequisites are in Shloka 1. Then in Satyapi Bheda Pagame Nata Tavaham, he has talked about the nature of the difference and unity, the nature of the unity between Jiva and Brahman. Then we have also talked about the nature of fear, why fear comes about. So in this way, Bhagavad-pada merges, as I said as the tagline of this was, he merges poetic brilliance along with philosophical import to give us this beautiful Shatpadi Stotra that, as he said, may this ever be in our mouths. So with namaskarams to Bhagavan Vishnumurti's feet and with namaskarams to Bhagavad Pada and the Guru Parampara, I will end the talk here. Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidhaye Nidhayerthinam Shri Venkatanivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Ito Nrisimha Parato Nrisimha Yato Yami Tato Nrisimha Bahirindrisimha Hridayendrisimha Nrisimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Sastu.
Thank you, Laliji. Do you want to take any questions?
Yeah, question and answers, as always.
Oh, okay. Anybody has any questions, please raise their hands or just unmute themselves and ask question, please.
లలితాదిత్య గారు, చంద్రశేఖర్ ఫ్రమ్ డాలస్. ఎప్పుడు నేనే మొదట అడిగేస్తాను, మిమ్మల్ని మెచ్చుకుంటాను. ఎందుకు మెచ్చుకుంటాను అనేది కూడా నేను చక్కగా నోట్స్ రాసుకుని చెప్తాను. చాలా ఆనందంగా ఉంది. ప్రశ్నలు కూడా ఉన్నాయి నాకు. ఎంత సమయం నేను ఇక్కడ స్పెండ్ చేయగలను తెలియదు, కానీ నేను మళ్ళీ మీకు కావాలంటే వేరే ఆఫ్లైన్ మాట్లాడతాను. బట్ ఒక మంచి క్వశ్చన్ మీరు చాలా బాగా చెప్పారు. చాలా నోట్స్ ఉంది, నేను క్వశ్చన్లు అవి రాసుకున్నాను. చివరిలో శంకరాచార్యుల వారు ఒక గడుసైన మాట అన్నారు. ఏంటంటే, ఈ షట్పదే ఆ నా మొహంలో ఉండే కమలంలో సదా వసతు అని చెప్పని. అంటే ఈ మోహం కూడా మనం పడిపోవచ్చు, ఇది కూడా ఒక మోహమైనటు. అంటే ఆ శంకర్లో వారి టచ్ అక్కడ చూపించారు, అది చాలా నాకు నచ్చింది. అది అట్లాగే మీరు అన్ని లాటానుప్రాస, చేకానుప్రాస, వృత్యానుప్రాస, ముక్త పదగ్రస్తం, శబ్దాలంకారాలన్నీ చక్కగా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశారు. అది చాలా మంచిది. అంటే వేదాంతం ఒక ధోరణి అంటే శంకర్ల వారి పొయిటరీలో ఉండేటువంటి లాంగ్వేజ్ని కూడా హైలైట్ చేసి చెప్పారు. దానికి చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు. సో ఒక ప్రశ్న అనగానే నాకు ఒక ప్రశ్న వచ్చింది. ఎందుకంటే సంసార బ్రింగ్స్ ద్వైత వృత్తి అండ్ ఆ దైవిక భావనలో మనం అద్వైత వృత్తిని అలవరుచుకోవాలి అని చెప్పి అన్నారు. అన్నప్పుడు మరి అంటే మనకి గైడ్ లైను ఈ ద్వైత వృత్తిలో ఒక పక్క ఉండాలి, అది తప్పనిసరి అనేది ఒక టైప్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ అనుకోండి, ఒక స్థిత్యంతరం అనుకోండి. అది అలా ఉంటూ మనం మళ్ళీ అద్వైత భావనను అలవాటు చేసుకోవాలి అంటే దానికి మార్గదర్శనం ఏమిటి? అంటే మన సాధన చేయటమా మార్గదర్శనం, ఎట్లాగా? అది
సాధనే. ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఈ వేదాంత ప్రక్రియ చెప్పేది అందుకు. ఇప్పుడు ఆ వేదాంతం నేర్చుకోవాలంటే ప్రతి పుస్తకం మొదట్లో ఉంటుంది. ఆ వేదాంత విద్యార్థి యొక్క లక్షణం ఏంటంటే వేదము చెప్పిన కర్మలన్నిటినీ చేసి మిగతా శాస్త్రాలన్నీ సరిగ్గా అర్థం చేసుకొని శమము దమము సంపద అని చెప్తారు కదా, సాధన
సంపత్తి,
ఇవన్నీ వచ్చి శాస్త్రం చదివితే అప్పుడు ఇవన్నీ ఎట్లా అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి అని చెప్పి ఒకటి వస్తుంది. అప్పటికి మనస్సు మీద కావాల్సిన నిగ్రహము, మనకి కావాల్సిన శమదమాదులు కూడా వస్తాయని చెప్పి చెప్తారు. ఈ ప్రకరణ గ్రంథాలన్నీ అవే చెప్తాయి. ఈ కొన్ని ప్రకరణ గ్రంథాలు అయితే ఈ సాధన చేసుకునేటప్పుడు ఒక ప్రత్యేకమైన విషయం మీదనే దృష్టి పెట్టి చెప్తాయి. ఇప్పుడు దృగ్దృశ్య వివేకం ఉంది, అది వీరిది విద్యారణ్యులు వారి శిష్యులైన భారతీయ తీర్థులు ఇద్దరు కలిసి రాశారు అనుకుంటా. అది దృగ్దృశ్య వివేకంలో ఇప్పుడు బ్రహ్మకి జగత్తుకి వేరు చేయడం ఎట్లా అనేదే ఆ పుస్తకం యొక్క లక్ష్యం అన్నమాట. అలాగే ఇప్పుడు శంకరాచార్యుడి స్వాత్మ నిరూపణ ఉంది. ఇప్పుడు తత్వమసిలో నేను చెప్పిన ఆ తత్పద శోధన, త్వంపద శోధన, అభేదార్థము, అవన్నీ యొక్క వాటి యొక్క సమన్వయం ఎలా చేయాలనేది దాంట్లో చేస్తున్నారు. కాబట్టి ముందు మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే మన ప్రవర్తన, అసలు మనం ఒక దినచర్యలో నిగ్రహం ఉండదు, మన మనస్సు మీద నిగ్రహం ఉండదు, మన ప్రవర్తనలో నిగ్రహం ఉండదు అన్నప్పుడు ఇది వచ్చే ప్రశ్నయే ఉండదు. కాబట్టి ముందు అవన్నీ వచ్చాక దమయ మనః శమయ విషయ మృగ తృష్ణం అవన్నీ ఏవైతే చెప్పారో మొదట్లో ఆ లక్షణాలు అలవర్చుకొని శాస్త్రం చెప్పిన విధానంలో మనము అన్వేషణ చేశాక అప్పుడు ఖచ్చితంగా అది బ్రహ్మ ప్రాప్తికి దోహదపడుతుంది. వీటికి అనుషంగికంగా ఉపాసన చేయాలి, భగవంతుడిని ప్రార్థించాలి. కాబట్టి మనకి ఎప్పుడు ఈ కర్మము, జ్ఞానము, శాస్త్రము ఈ మూడు మనకి త్రివేణిలాగా ప్రవహించాలన్నమాట. శాస్త్రము చెప్పిన కర్మ చేయడం వల్ల చిత్తశుద్ధి, ఉపాసన చేయడం వల్ల భగవత్ కృప, ఏకాగ్రత, మధ్యలో జ్ఞాన సాధన చేయడం వల్ల అసలు విషయం తెలుసుకోవడము. ఈ 2 దోహదాలు. అది ఏమంటారు, వేదాంతాన్ని ఉపకార్యం అంటారు, మిగతావన్నీ ఉపకారకాలు అంటారు. మిగతావన్నీ దీనికి దోహదం చేస్తే అప్పుడు ఈ వేదాంత అన్వేషణ సరిగ్గా కుదురుతుంది. మిగతా నియమాలు లేకుండా ఉట్టి స్పిరిచువాలిటీ సిద్ధించదు అని చెప్పి మన సంప్రదాయం.
బాగా చెప్పారు. ఇంకొక ప్రశ్న అడుగుతుంది. ఆర్గనైజర్స్ ప్లీజ్ ఎక్స్క్యూజ్ మీ, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఇన్ ఇంగ్లీష్ బికాస్ దిస్ ఈస్ వెరీ డెన్స్ ఫిలాసఫీ. ఐ లైక్ వెన్ లలిత్ స్పీక్స్ ఇన్ తెలుగు. సో
నో ప్రాబ్లం అండి, చంద్ర గారు, నో ప్రాబ్లం, ప్లీజ్ గో అహెడ్.
One another question and then I will pass on to next people. I know a lot of people are waiting. ఇందులో మీరు చూడండి, తవాహం అని చెప్పిన తర్వాత నా మామకి నష్టం అని చెప్పని అంటారు శంకరాచార్యుల వారు. అంటే దానికి సాగరము, సముద్రము, తరంగాల ఉదాహరణ చెప్పినా కూడా ఇప్పుడు త్వమేవాహం అనేది ఒక కాన్సెప్ట్ చూస్తే, తర్వాత మరి మనం ఇంకో రకంగా చూస్తే త్వదంశకః అని కూడా మనం అంటాం. అంటే నేను నీలో ఒక చిన్న అంశాన్ని అని. ఈ రెండింటిని మనం సమన్వయం చేయటం ఎట్లాగా? నేనే నువ్వు, నువ్వే నేను అనేది ఒక ఎత్తు అయితే, నేను నీలో ఒక అంశ అనేదాన్ని ఎట్లాగా మనం చూడటం?
అంటే నేను చెప్పినట్టు ఈశ్వరుడి యొక్క నిర్వచనము జీవుల యొక్క సమాహారం. ఇప్పుడు 2 కోటులు చైతన్యంలో 2 కోటులు, జీవకోటి, ఈశ్వర కోటి అని చెప్పి. ఈ జీవుడు మైక్రోకాజం అనుకుంటే ఈశ్వరుడు మైక్రోకాజము. ఈ జీవుడికి స్థూల శరీరం ఉన్నట్టు ఈశ్వరుడికి స్థూల శరీరము. జీవుడికి సూక్ష్మ శరీరం ఉన్నట్టే ఈశ్వరుడికి సూక్ష్మ శరీరము. ఏముందంటే ఈ జీవుల యొక్క సమాహారం, వీళ్ళ స్థూల శరీరాల యొక్క సమాహారము ఈశ్వరుడికి స్థూల శరీరం అవుతుంది. అట్లన్నప్పుడు ఈ ఒక్క జీవుడి యొక్క స్థూల శరీరము సమాహారమైన స్థూల శరీరంలో అంశం అవుతుంది. అలాగే వీళ్ళ ఈ సూక్ష్మ శరీరాల్లో ఈ జీవుడి సూక్ష్మ శరీరం 7 అవయవాలు, ఈ పంచ కర్మేంద్రియాలు, పంచ జ్ఞానేంద్రియాలు, ఈ మనస్సు, బుద్ధి, ఇవి ప్రతి జీవుడికి ఎవరికి వాళ్ళది. వీళ్ళు ఈ అందరి జీవుల యొక్క సమాహారం కలిపి బ్రహ్మకి ఈశ్వరుడికి సూక్ష్మ శరీరము. అలాగే కారణ శరీరము, ఈ జీవుల కారణ శరీరాలన్నీ కలిపి ఈశ్వరుడికి కారణ శరీరము. ఈ ఒక్క జీవుడి పక్షం నుంచి చూస్తే ఒక్కటి దీంట్లో అంశమే అవుతుంది కాబట్టి అక్కడ అంశీభావం చెప్పారు. ఎక్కువ విశిష్టాద్వైతులు చెప్తారు. భావత్వము విశిష్టాద్వైతులది. సంపూర్ణ భేదము, బింబ ప్రతిబింబం సంపూర్ణ భేదత్వము వీళ్ళు చెప్తారు, ద్వైతులు చెప్తారు. మనం పారమార్థిక అభేదాన్ని మనం చెప్తాం.
అద్వైత భావన కింద చూస్తే త్వమేవాహం త్వమస్మి, ఆ తత్వమసి, అవన్నీ మనం మనసులో పెట్టుకోవాల్సిన విషయాలు అవి. బాగుందండి, థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. ఆర్గనైజర్ మీరు చాలా మంచి ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఆర్గనైజ్ చేశారు. లలిత్ గారిని మనం విడిచిపెట్టకూడదు, నెల కాదు 2 వారాలకు ఒకసారి లాగాలి ఆయన మనం.
తప్పకుండా అండి, అడుగుతున్నాం. సో మంత్కి ఒకసారి ఇప్పటికైతే.
థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. ఐ విల్ పాస్ ఆన్.
షూర్.
కుదిరితే గుడి తెరిచాక కూడా నెలకొకసారి సాహిత్య కళార్చన పెట్టుకుంటే కూడా
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
కోవిడ్ లేకపోతే నేను మీ హాస్టల్ గుడికే వచ్చేవాడిని అండి. తలస నుంచి హాస్టల్ ఎంత దూరం పర్వాలేదు.
థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. ఎనీబడి ఎల్స్ హ్యాస్ ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్స్?
లలిత్ గారు, కెన్ యు హియర్ మీ? లలిత్ గారు, నా పేరు విశాల్ అండి, డాలస్ నుంచి. వెరీ నైస్ సార్, చాలా బాగా చెప్పారు. మీరు ఒక మాట అన్నారు, ఏంటంటే ఇది పారమార్థికంలోనే కానీ వ్యవహారికంలో కాదు అని. ఇఫ్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఇన్ వ్యవహారికం, సో కృష్ణ వుడ్ నెవర్ సే ఇన్ భగవద్గీత, యోమాం పశ్యతి సర్వత్ర సర్వం చ మయి పశ్యతి శ్యాం న ప్రణశ్యామి సతమేన ప్రణశ్యతి. అతను ఆ మాట అన్నాడు. ప్రహ్లాదుడు ఇందుగలడందు లేనని సందేహం వలది చక్రి సర్వోపగతుండు ఎందెందు వెతికి చూచినా అని వాడు ఆ మాట అన్నాడు. సో నేను ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ మీరు ఒకటి మిస్ అవుతున్నారు సార్. బికాజ్ శంకర భగవత్పాదులు కూడా అపరోక్షానుభూతులు ఏమంటారంటే, కృత్వా జ్ఞానమయ దృష్టి పశ్యేద్భమయ జగత్ అంటాడు. సో ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ ఇన్ పారమార్థికం అండ్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ అట్ ఆల్ యూస్ఫుల్ ఇన్ వ్యవహారికం, ఇట్ ఇస్ అటర్లీ యూజ్లెస్ టు మీ, అటర్లీ యూజ్లెస్. సో what you have said is that there is a little disconnect because of course you have to know it to see it. So
అంటే అది ఎట్లా అంటే ఇప్పుడు దాని విషయం చూసినప్పుడు దాని కారణాన్ని చూడడం అన్నమాట. ఇప్పుడు ఘటాన్ని చూసినప్పుడు ఘటము అని చూడకుండా మృत्यు అని చూడడం పారమార్థిక దృష్టి. ఘటాన్ని చూసినప్పుడు చూడడం వ్యావహారిక దృష్టి. అంతే.
పారమార్థిక దృష్టి అదొక జస్ట్ కాన్సెప్ట్ కాదు. that thing in which all the concepts subside. So just like as you had mentioned, that samudram in which all the waves subside. So even in the మన second chapter Bhagavad Gita lo kuda ఆయన క్లియర్ గా చెప్తాడు ఏంది ఆపూర్యమాన మతలం ప్రతిష్టం. సో he gives the exact same example. So it's like, you have to, so it is always available. Yatsat sarvatra sarvataha. So it is always available, whether if it is only available in Paramarthika, it's absolutely useless. He would never give us that. So what I'm saying is,
పారమార్థికము వ్యావహారికంగా మీరు ఓవర్లాప్ చాలా చక్కగా చెప్పారు. నేను చెప్పింది ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీరు అన్నట్టు ప్రహ్లాదుడు భగవంతుడిని సర్వత్రా చూశాడు అంటే ప్రహ్లాదుడు స్తంభంలో చూసినప్పుడు విష్ణుమూర్తి కరచరణాలతో అక్కడ లేడు. ఆ స్తంభంలో సదంశగా చిరంశగా ఆనందాంశంగా ఉన్నాడు ఆ స్తంభంలో.
There you go. Yeah, just to prove that point. Yes, you're right. Just to prove that point is everywhere.
ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ ప్రహ్లాదుడు తల కాళ్ళు చేతులు నామం రూపం కలిగిన ప్రహ్లాదుడికి 4 చేతులు శంఖ చక్రాలు విష్ణు అనే పేరున్న విష్ణువుకి భేదము. కానీ ప్రహ్లాదుడు చూసింది సత్తు చిత్తు ఆనందాంశమయమైన.
Yes, you're right. Amazing. There you go. So that is a when your thought knows its source, it is always innate. It's always innate. So it's as simple as that. So what I'm saying is, we should never propose saying that ఇది ఓన్లీ భావనలో ఉంటుంది మనం మృతికం చూడడం కాదు.
ఖచ్చితంగా వ్యావహారికమైన శాస్త్ర పదం. వ్యవహారం అంటే మన తెలుగు వ్యవహారం అది ఇది గ్రేడేషన్స్ అవి. మన వ్యవహారంలో మన జీవన్ ముక్తుల యొక్క స్థితి అదే. అక్కడ వ్యావహారికమైన పదం వాడింది అది పారిభాషిక పదం మన తెలుగు.
But there is definitely a mental mutation that happens. So you cannot. So andukane all the shlokas in 13th chapter, 12th chapter, yapashyati sapashyati, that all will be your own experience. That is Acharya speaking it over there from his as himself. But you should know, you should be able to come out of it as your own experience. That should be your thing.
అపరోక్ష అనుభూతి అందుకనే కదా పరోక్షంగా.
Yes. So yapashyati sapashyati అని ఆ 13th chapter లో ఉన్నవన్నీ నీకు అనుభవంలోకి రావాలి. Yes. Yeah. So I wanted to just like make a point that ఇది ఓన్లీ భావంలో నేను మృత్తికం చూస్తాను. No. It is absolutely అపరోక్ష అనుభూతి. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Anis.
Thanks, Andy. Anybody has any other questions, please?
నేను ఇంకొక క్వశ్చన్ వేయచ్చా మళ్ళా? ఎందుకంటే అతన్ని లలిత్ని వేరే పట్టుకుంటే అంత టైం వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. మీరు సమ్మర్ సెమిస్టర్లో కూడా ఉన్నారా? సమ్మర్ సెమిస్టర్ తీసుకున్నారా? అదే నాకు తెలుసు అది. నాకు ఇక్కడ ఒక చిన్న అనుమానం, డౌట్ మీరు చెప్తే సందేహ తీరిపోతుంది. ఇక్కడ రెండో దాంట్లో దివ్యధుని మకరందే పరిమళ పరిభోగ సచ్చిదానందే శ్రీపతి పదారవిందే భవభయ ఖేదక్షిదే వందే అని చెప్పారు. అక్కడ షష్ఠీ విభక్తి ఎక్కడుంది? ఎవరికి వందే అంటే లాంగ్వేజ్ పరంగా చూస్తే అన్ని బహువ్రీహి సమాసాలు కదా, ప్రతి ఒక్కటి కూడా నామవాచకం కిందే తీసుకుంటే
అన్ని నామపదాలే. ద్వితీయ విభక్తి ద్వివచనము.
ఓహో.
శ్రీపతి పదార విందములను దివ్యధుని మకరందములు పరిమళ పరిభోగ సచ్చిదానందములు భవభయఖేద క్షిదములు అయిన శ్రీపతి పదార విందములను వందే నమస్కరిస్తాను.
అంటే చతుర్థి గాని షష్ఠి గాని వస్తుంది కదా, ఇక్కడ నాకు కనిపించలేదు, అందుకని
విభక్తులు విగ్రహం చెప్పినప్పుడు షష్ఠి చెప్తాను.
ఓహో.
విగ్రహ వాక్యంలో యస్య అని చెప్పి షష్ఠి వస్తుంది.
ఇప్పుడు వందే మనం ద్వితీయ కూడా చెప్పచ్చా?
వందేకి కర్మగా ఉండే ద్వితీయనే ఉండదు. నేను చెప్పింది విగ్రహం చెప్పినప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు యస్య తం అని చెప్తుంది. యస్య అనే వీటికి అన్వయించినప్పుడు షష్ఠిలో చెప్పి పదార్థానికి అన్వయించినప్పుడు మనం కావాల్సిన వాక్యంలో ఉండే విభక్తిని పెట్టుకుంటాం.
ఓహో.
Okay. Thanks, Andy Lalit Garu. Thank you very much for coming and doing this pravachanam for AHT. Next month, first week లో మళ్ళీ చేద్దాం.
డేట్ ఏమైనా డిసైడ్ చేస్తారండి?
లేదండి, ఇంకా లేదు. మళ్ళీ చెప్తానండి.
ఓకే. థ్యాంక్స్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ఆల్ ఫర్ జాయినింగ్ అండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ లలిత్ గారు. మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి నమస్తే.